Hello, I'm Attorney Todd Leneve. Welcome to West Virginia Gun Law. Today I want to take a minute and answer a question I was recently asked, and that is, what are my rights in protecting myself against a dog attack? Stick around. So I've been asked a few times in the past about what we can do if we find ourselves in a position that a dog is attacking us, and actually was just recently asked this very question by a channel subscriber who had a friend go through that experience. And so I thought it might be worth doing a short video here today just to make sure you understand some of the distinctions in our law that you need to be aware of when it comes to how you can protect yourself against an attack by a dog or other vicious animal. Primarily, though, we are talking about dogs here today, and that's what I'm going to be referring to. Now, West Virginia law, which is probably similar to the law of most states, has a few guiding points on the protection that's afforded to animals, particularly dogs, and some of the statutes we're going to take a look at today will help us better address this question of what I can do to protect myself against a dog attack. So let's take a look at this first section of code here right now. Any dog which is registered, kept, and controlled as provided in this article or maintained as a companion animal is protected by law, and except as otherwise authorized by law, any person who shall intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly kill, injure, poison, or in any other manner cause the death or injury of any animal is guilty of a misdemeanor. However, this section does not apply to a dog who is killed while attacking a person, a companion animal, or livestock. So this section of the code shows us that the law affords a very clear protection for dogs and other pets that are kept in compliance with the state law when it comes to how those animals are treated. However, the key takeaway out of this section is that final point that makes a clear, defined definition that says any dog that is attacking a person may lawfully be killed. Again, that's attacking a person, a pet of that person's, or livestock of that person. And so when we're talking about this scenario, we've got a couple of key points that we're looking at. First off is that when it comes to protecting ourselves, the law is making it clear here that we have that right almost without limitation to kill a dog if we have to protect ourselves from attack by that dog. Now, we also here look at the issue of livestock. And in that case, what's important to understand is that our law generally says that I would have the right, say as a farmer, to kill a dog that was harassing my livestock, provided that that dog was outside the enclosure of its owner, and the dog is engaging in acts that threaten the safety and security of my livestock. So let's take a look at a couple of statutes here that define the importance of owners' responsibility for keeping their dog properly contained and making sure that it doesn't just run at large. Any owner or keeper of any dog who permits such dog to run at large shall be liable for any damages inflicted upon the person or property of another by such dog while so running at large. A person may kill a dog that he may see chasing, worrying, wounding, or killing any livestock outside of the enclosure of the owner of the dog, unless the chasing or worrying be done by the direction of the owner of the livestock. So these statutes that we just looked at make it clear that as the dog owner, I have a responsibility to keep my dog contained, to make sure that it's not out just running at large, bothering people, bothering other animals. If it's doing that, the person affected does have the right, as we saw in the first statute, to kill that dog potentially to stop its activities. Now again, most law enforcement officers are going to look at this carefully and make sure that if you've killed a dog that belongs to somebody else, that the circumstances surrounding that killing are in fact fair and reasonable as your interests are concerned. You can't just obviously go around the neighborhood and shooting any dog you see walking down the street. There has to be an act of aggression, and that dog has to be behaving in a manner that is not consistent with the interest of public safety. Now, when we're talking about the life of an individual or a companion animal, a pet, there's not a restriction on the location of the aggressive dog as being a factor in determining whether or not you may be justified in killing that dog. So if I am attacked while I'm out walking for just enjoyment, or maybe I'm running errands, I'm walking from my vehicle to a store, or whatever the case may be, and a strange dog comes out of nowhere and attacks me, I certainly would have the right to use lethal force if necessary to kill that dog. Now, I may also want to consider less than lethal options, which is a reason that I always encourage people, have a less than lethal option available. Don't just rely on a firearm exclusively. Whether it's a dog attacking you or another person, having that other option shows that you are making every reasonable effort to avoid that ultimate use of force. But in the event that you find yourself in a situation where you don't have a choice, then you can use lethal force to protect yourself or your own pet from being attacked or killed by another dog. Now, understand that most law enforcement officers will look at the big picture, and they're going to make a determination that even though this isn't analyzed under a self-defense law framework, if we're talking about something such as a Chihuahua that you could punt, or if we're talking about something like an aggressive German Shepherd that may be capable of taking you down in an instant, there's going to be a distinction in how your actions are viewed. Does it necessarily mean that you could get in more trouble or less trouble depending on those circumstances? It's tough to say, because any one of these cases is going to be judged based on the uniqueness of your specific circumstances in that moment of time. But the bottom line is our law makes it clear that you don't ever have to be a victim of a dog attack. You do have a right to protect yourself, and if necessary, you have a right to kill that dog. Let's talk about a situation where you're not invited into certain property, somebody's private property, yet you go in and you get attacked by a dog and you take action against it. Again, you don't have to be a victim, but if you were unlawfully on that property, if you went in without an invitation, your actions and decisions are going to be scrutinized very differently than if you had been invited onto that property or the location where this attack took place. So as I like to tell everybody, in a self-defense scenario, and again, even though this isn't self-defense law here, we're talking about protecting yourself against an attack, as I tell everybody, do everything you can to make sure that you've got clean hands, that there's nothing that you have done that somebody can look at and question your motives, question your actions, question the legality of your choices and your decisions, or even question the legality of your presence in that location. Just don't do things wrong, and most of those issues are going to go by the wayside. There won't even be a question about what you chose to do or why. If you're out in a place that you're allowed to be and you're attacked by a dog, the law does allow you to use deadly force to protect against that attack. If you have questions about this, please feel free to drop them in the comments section below. My email, as always, is down in the video description. You're welcome to reach out to me directly, and I would certainly appreciate hearing from you if you do have thoughts on this topic. Thanks for being here today. Look forward to seeing the next video. Until then, take care and stay safe.